So you tell me when you're ready for me to start or how you want to do this.
Good. All right, everybody. Our next guest here on Pitch a Pod Pitch is just an absolute rock star and just years of experience in her expertise. I think you're going to learn quite a few little nuggets on there. Arlene Gale is the first and foremost about helping people write and tell their professional stories. As the book writing business coach and a marketing, business branding, and strategic planning expert, Arlene has helped hundreds of clients in a variety of industries around the world earn millions of dollars. We all like the earning and new business by writing the right business building books. Arlene's unique expertise comes from combining 30 years of marketing and writing experience to create powerful and profitable business books for clients. Arlene's podcast, Mindset Meets Mastery with Arlene Gale, is also about the stories we tell ourselves that impact our ability to achieve success. On Mindset Meets Mastery, Arlene talks about the mindsets, myths, and misunderstandings that keep us from mastering the success potential that is inside each and every one of us. And she either discusses the key point for the week or has expert guests on who talk about how to succeed in business and without excuses or apologies. She's written more and published more than a dozen books with her name on the front cover. She's a multi-international, national award-winning author, number one best-selling and business award winner. She helps clients duplicate these winning results and has also written book proposals, earning clients traditional publishing contracts with cash advance awards. She's written thousands of magazine feature articles, proposals, and award applications. She also has a proven track record of speaking on business and writing strategies internationally. And her podcast is available on all podcast channels and is reaching international audiences. Without further ado, we're awesome and excited to have Arlene Gale join us here. How's it going today, Arlene?
Oh, it's going great. I try and some point in my day think about, okay, what am I learning today? And I'll share this with you because I'm sure you cannot relate to this at all. But my thought for the day is, this is why I do not juggle knives.
Yeah.
You don't feel like that at all today, do you?
No, not at all. Not since
So it's like, it's
ago.
been, but it's all good. It's all good. As long as you can learn something every day, I think you're doing pretty good. That's my opinion.
Exactly. Now, let's talk about a little bit. What inspired you to start your podcast?
Well, what I do for work and for life is all about redefining success on your own terms and getting rid of those mindsets that get in our way, that help us build walls instead of tear them down. Things like just little things like that. And I started my whole business. Probably the turning point was about 5 years ago. I've been combining marketing and business development and writing for 30 years, and I've done this for tons of other people. But a light bulb moment for me was 5 years ago when I wrote my first book, and it's called Face Forward, Move Forward, and I show that to you because I had fears about writing this book. It was my story. Who the heck do I think I am to be writing my story? Who the heck do I think I am that I'm going to be able to sell this? Who the heck do I think I am? All of those things. And then on top of that, not only is that noise that's in my head, but sometimes you get that from other people from the outside too. So it's interesting because now I help people write their books, and those are the same things I hear from them. And what I finally got to was, well, duh, you've been doing it for other people. Why can't you do it for yourself? So that's when I set out and wrote my first book with my name on the front cover, right? That's a big, boing, mind-blowing kind of realization that I've been doing it. I can do it for me too. So this little book came out, and like I said, almost 5 years ago, and I'm still getting speaking gigs and workshop invitations from topics on that book. Why? Because I wrote it that way. And that's something that people forget. Why are you writing a book? Why are you telling your story? How do you want to use it? Where do you want it to take you? So that's what I do. But before I can help somebody write their story and use it in a powerful and profitable way, I have to help them get through those mindsets, those stories they tell themselves, so that they can sit down and actually write. And it's kind of interesting to me because I get those barriers if they're new to business and they don't think that they have anything to say or do, so they don't see themselves as an expert. So first of all, get over it. If you want to start a business, you got to be an expert, because if you're not, nobody wants to hire the second best anything, right? I mean, really, if you were going to a heart surgeon, do you want the second best? Or if you're going to a lawyer or a tax accountant and they say, well, maybe I can keep you out of jail, or maybe I can keep the IRS off your backside, do you want the second best? I mean, really, no. You're an expert. You got to own that. And to own that title, sometimes people have huge blocks and mindsets that they've got to move past in order to start their business and do it in such a way that they can earn that expert positioning. Then I get people on the other end of the spectrum who've been in business a long time. They know their stuff, and sometimes it's a matter of they've got too much stuff. So where do I start? Because if I start with this, then I don't do this, or I don't do this. And, I can't leave those children behind. So how do we stop the noise and clarify what's your priority? Because it's not this and not this. It's what's first. So getting that mindset block and all those whirling dervishes out of the way so that they can be productive when writing their book, when telling their story, when doing their business. So that was kind of when I wrote, back, I get so passionate, I get all over the place, so I apologize.
You're good.
I'll stop flitting because I'm sure that people are getting dizzy with my Italian hand motions. But, when I wrote my first book and it did so well, it was a USA Today best-selling book. It won several international awards. It got me speaking gigs all over the world. And people started taking notice and started coming to me and saying, hey, Arlene, will you help me write my book? Will you help me write my story? Okay, that's kind of like what I like to do. And that's how the Book Writing Business Coach was born, in doing that. And I love it. But again, I couldn't have done that if I hadn't gotten past the mindsets that me as a qualified business development person and writer, if I hadn't gotten through those mindsets, I'd be still sitting in a corner somewhere crying, or thumping my head or beating my head against the wall, And the most successful people have become successful because they have removed those barriers and overcome those mindsets. So they can tell their story, so they can write their book and build their business. So all I really want to do is bring in experts to help me and my listeners overcome the mindsets that keep us from being successful, or even just starting to begin with, because it's about one step at a time. And how do we do that? So that's how Mindset Meets Mastery became, my idea for a podcast, because what are the mindsets or the things that hold us back? And how do we begin to master those mindsets so that we can move towards success without excuses and no apologies to anybody? We're going to do it our way. We're going to define success our way. So, as much as I tell my teenage sons I know it all, I really don't. Shh. And so that's why I do some podcasts on my expertise of book writing, but I bring in experts in other areas. We've covered things like sales. Boo, sales, a 4-letter word. And don't you feel like sometimes when somebody comes to sell you something, they are really cussing at you instead of listening to you? So we talk about sales. I've had experts talk about the scarcity mindset, learned helplessness, let me think, positive communication skills, whether it's in relationships or in business. So whatever your expertise is, if you can present my audience with a problem and a solution, a mindset, and how to master it, you're the guest that I want on my show. And if you have trouble with mindsets keeping you becoming all you want to be, whatever it is, the tiniest or the biggest, then you're my perfect listener. Come and let's learn together about how, we can change the world, because we all have a story to live. I tell people, I'm not leaving a legacy because I'm not going anywhere yet. I'm living a legacy. So how do we change the mindset so that we're all living a legacy and trying to make the world a better place? I mean, Scott, that's all I want to do.
That's awesome. I love it. And I got a couple people on here. I know they're probably thinking the question you outlined, that we often, when we're going into our show or doing things, we feel like we're bombarded with everything: technology, podcast, book, keynote, product. it's like a whirling dervish around our heads, like juggling knives like you talked about there.
Yeah.
How do you pick the first knife?
It's about prioritizing. At the end of the day, if you've got a to-do list this long and you only get half of it done, is it a good day if it's the top half, or is it a good day if it's the bottom half?
Right.
So make a to-do list, but pick one or two, maybe three things that you're going to do today, now, and then move on those. Don't try and, I used to have chronic depression about I can't change the world, and I've learned to own that. I can't change the world. But if I can change this part of my world, and that person goes out and drops that nugget and changes that part, and so on, we will change the world, but we'll do it together.
I love it. What's been the biggest thing that you've learned from having your podcast?
Well, there are experts out there that can put words to things that I've experienced, but I didn't really know what to call them, like the scarcity mindset. Those people that think that there'll never be enough for them, there'll never be enough money, enough recognition, enough, and why that mindset drives them to behave the way they behave. I've seen it, but I didn't really know what to call it. So the wisdom I've gotten from other people has just been, I don't know if I would have gotten that if I hadn't been pursuing them as experts.
I love that. That's really good stuff. Elizabeth Bachman says on here, love the part about not changing the whole world and feeling that. I think a lot of people struggle with that, especially with the environment that we're in, social media and politics or anything like that. We often get so bombarded, and it's like, oh, you can't change the world. Well, but you can change one thing. You can do what you can do. And that's really how movement started. It's one person changing one thing, right?
Absolutely. And I tell people about marketing, and I think it's the same thing in life and changing the world. You have a pebble in your hand. It's your expertise, or it's whatever you want to share with the world. And when you throw it in the stream, it causes ripple effects. So when you have a primary message and a primary target market in business, it doesn't mean you can't do all this. It means you start here and you grow. The same thing is when you're trying to change the world with your personal or professional story. When you write that book, it's a pebble that creates ripples that will go beyond your wildest imagination if you write it the right way.
I love that. I got a question here. Somebody asking here, what's the best way to start writing if you're sitting at a blank page? Is there anything you recommend to help people overcome?
Do you know this person? Will they handle a smart-ass remark?
Oh, you can be as smart-ass as you want to be. Yes, Gail.
Put your butt in the chair. Put your butt in the chair and start writing. But really, it's not that simple. I'm just, that's insight into my sarcastic personality. But that I get that question a lot. You got to put your butt in the chair, and it's not, you don't start writing the book. And that's the myth that so many people have. You start with creating a foundational marketing plan, because if you write the book and then try and figure out how to sell it, if you wait, it's too late. You have to have a marketing plan, your who, what, where, when, why, and that's how you write a book and publish a book that doesn't just sit there and not sell. That's how you write a book that's going to be powerful and profitable. And I would like that person to connect with me, Arlene at arlenegale.com, and let's talk. Evidently, there's a book there that's waiting to get out, and I would love for them to send me an email. I will give them a free coaching call, and I'd love for them to connect with me at arlenegale.com for the podcast. Listen, and I do in-person workshops. I've got online workshops. If you got a story, I can help you write in a way that's positive, powerful, and will help you make it into a business building book, a business building tool.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Well, Arlene, thank you so much for being on Pecha Pod Pitch. Such great nuggets. Any question from anybody before we let Arlene get back to her day? Because we're running out of time here.
Juggling knives.
Juggling knives. That's right. On to the next blade. Thanks, Arlene.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, everybody. Connect with me.